Crystal is there. Hi, Crystal.
Oh, nice.
I think she has her headphones on. I'm
Okay.
sure she hears you. She's muted, so.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Actually, I don't have really much questions this week. There is something that came up recently. I'm reading this book. I forget what it's called, but basically, this doctor has been studying this from the 70s. I think actually even earlier, but it's kind of like energy. It's like, I think the book's called The Energy Cure or something like that. Anyways, he studied in universities and done multiple studies on this. And what they did was, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because he talks about flow. And he called it something else first, and then later establishes it as flow, I guess, because by the time the book came out, maybe this stuff was already kind of relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And what they studied was healing mice with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And what he was doing was training people he calls it cycling. And they pick 20 things that they inspire to do in life, basically.
Right.
And then they visualize it, and then they put their hands over the mice, and they were curing them from cancer and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But he talked about it. I'm just wondering if you've come across any things like that, like any studies like that, and maybe, like, I was just kind of wondering, because he mentions it flow, do you think it's like associated with like the brain chemicals being released from the body, or is it this body? I don't know, I'm just wondering if you had any opinion or thoughts on it.
Because energy medicine now is finally, coming of age. A lot more researches are done.
Mm-hmm.
But the fundamental is that we have bioenergy.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever happens in the body is because of the bioenergy.
Mm-hmm.
And that will become very clear once we are exploring chakras.
Oh, okay.
Oh, crystal clear, because there won't be any mystery. Everything will be demystified.
Mm-hmm.
And so this energy, it takes diverse form. And the material form of it is in the neurohormones, neurochemicals, blood flow, all the movement which is going on in the body. But we don't know about it because we can't experience it. We can only discover it by analyzing blood samples or all kinds of investigation. What we experience is through emotions, feelings, and thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our take on energy. That is how we experience energy. But the energy is taking, it's a fundamental energy, and it's taking all these biochemistry, neurohormones, etc. So once you are able to, touch some person, including human beings, all these Reiki and therapeutic touch and energy healing, Shiatsu,
Mm-hmm.
all those are shamanic energy healing. They belong to the same category. So you can heal mice, which is easier to heal in comparison
of humans. He did
humans.
say that, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because they are very simple, very straightforward, just like very young children. Human adults are very complex, and they have so many problems and multiple, complicated stories in their lives.
Yeah, he was saying it took way more treatments when they started getting into humans, he found, than the mice.
That's right. And humans, nobody can heal. Thing is that human, if you want to heal, they can only heal themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we can start the process.
Right. Well, actually, he kind of mentions that because he said they studied carrots, because I guess he said carrots can develop cancer cells.
Oh yeah.
But so there was no organ for it to attack, and so when they did the healing with carrots,
Yes.
nothing happened.
Yeah.
The cells still continued to develop, and nothing changed. But he said so it almost seemed like more of that. It just created a space in a way for them to do their own healing in a way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the most important thing to remember, that ultimately all healing happens from within.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. And I just thought it came to mind because he started talking about the flow and all this. I'm like, oh, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, flow is nothing else but the flow of the energy,
Mm-hmm.
which we experience in so many diverse ways. But the fundamental is the flow of the energy, which was blocked or partially blocked, just like a river which was dammed, and now you are removing the dam, so it is now flowing and it is washing away all the impurities which was accumulated on its bank.
Right. So I guess you're placing your hands on either side of this. You're allowing just current to kind of flow through the hands,
That's right.
which allows current to kind of flow through them.
Yeah. Because same principle applies to acupuncture, acupressure, no matter what you do. There are hundreds and thousands of ways.
Interesting. Interesting. I think there was just one thing I was kind of curious about. Okay, for the Pratyahara, going back to Pratyahara, do you feel that there's like, is there kind of two components to it then? If I'm saying that correctly? Because it seems like we can experience elements of Pratyahara, but then there's a Pratyahara experience in its own. So is it kind of two?
In a way, you can say two, because the first component is about a very intentional withdrawal from the senses. Okay, so I'm not going to go out much in the world. I'm not going to eat, fancy food which I used to eat. And I'm not going to listen to this music or song. I got addicted. Or I'm not going to use all those cosmetic, the perfumes, right? And I'm not going to meet many people because there was a craving for that. So all five senses, in a way, are intentionally withdrawn.
Okay.
And people go for a very long retreat or 2 years in the forest and so on and so forth. So that is the intentional pratyahar.
Okay.
Yeah. And unless, it can succeed, but extremely rare.
So you're more just kind of, you do those things to just kind of become aware of maybe the effects certain things are having on you in a way. Like you may withdraw, say, from music, and then you kind of realize, oh, like it didn't really change much or whatever. And then, so you're just kind of like testing things and just seeing what makes more sense to your.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because I tried also living in the monastery, I sort of, everybody was doing it, so I also tried and I found useless.
Right.
Yeah. But then I discovered Pratyahara came very spontaneously because the seeds of it is laid down already in Niyama. When you are aligning with your personality, and then your energy is released. Because you are not dissipating, you are not in conflict with your personality. And that energy is released, that creates flow. And flow actually is a type, a flow is nothing else but pratyahara. Because when you are feeling full from inside and a sense of well-being, pleasure, so what happens? Your senses are not moving towards pleasure anymore. Because if we don't have internal pleasure, then we move towards external pleasure through these five senses. So then it becomes. So, for example, I'll give you from my own life. I used to smoke heavily for 7 years, and then I joined monastery, and life became easy and relaxed. And then still I was smoking. Then Karen came in my life, and felt very good, and I don't even remember how just the smoking was dropped. For 7 years I did. So alcohol, smoking, both dropped completely. So because it was substituted by something else. So a lot of addictions, same thing. In addictions, we cannot leave it unless there is a positive substitute to it.
Okay.
So that was a example of pratyahar from something bad.
Right.
But here, pratyahar, ultimately, even something is good, we have to withdraw because our senses are craving. So, for example, good food is quite okay. I'm not talking about healthy, but we want to go to different restaurants and eat tasty food all the time, crave for it, and sometimes people travel for 1 hour. Some of our friends, they travel to Brampton or Mississauga to find to a particular restaurant 40 minutes driving to eat a meal. I refused. I said, what a wastage. But that is, the sense craving, constantly looking for. So either you substitute with better pleasure or intentionally withdraw. But ultimately, success in pratyahar comes when the pleasure is from inside.
Right. I feel like I got maybe a little bit confused. So, because yeah and no. So, like yoga, then because you're say asana, it's still coming. I'm just replacing it maybe with something else, and there isn't this. I'm doing it to make myself feel better.
Yes.
And I do feel better, but it's the fact that I'm using this external technique or tool.
That's right.
To kind of make myself feel better.
That's right. And hoping that technique will come to a point when everything will become spontaneous.
Mm-hmm. And that spontaneous feel better would just be consistent then at that point.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. I think, I'm pretty sure I got it.
Because now if you do yoga or whatever you are doing, you feel better for a few hours, few days, but in that state, you will feel consistently a sense of well-being.
Right. Okay.
Because humans cannot live without pleasure. Either they will become anxious or they will become depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure is absolutely vital.
Okay, I think I got it.
The sense of well-being doesn't mean pain-free, right?
No. No, because the sense of well-being means that that is what we call complete health.
Mm-hmm.
You will have all problems, and that doesn't mean perfect health.
Yeah.
Only thing is that intensity of the problem will reduce dramatically because the psychological emotional component, which plays a very big role in all our problems, will be reduced significantly.
It's almost there's no desire to get rid of it or to not have, constantly trying to take away that pain. It's just there, throbbing, but you go on, live your life.
Exactly.
You don't.
Your quality of life won't be reduced significantly because that well-being reduces the intensity and simultaneously the other parts of your lives are functioning much better.
Yeah.
That is what we call complete health.
Yeah.
One part compensates with the other.
Yeah. And when you're in the flow, you don't even feel anything.
No.
This idea of, I've heard it before, of people being addicted to their trauma or addicted to their pain, or they identify to their pain, and that's why they don't ever want to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Is that real?
Yeah, it is real. And the reason being that by doing that, they are getting attention.
Right, okay.
And why they want to continue?
Mm-hmm.
Because they found refuge and people console them. Oh, I'm so sorry, it's happening. And then they go to doctor's office and go there and disability and all those. So in that way, in a vicarious or a negative way, they get attention of it.
So is that, I guess, at some point they're getting an emotional response release from the body, from the brain? I guess something's releasing from the brain that kind of feeds them.
Yeah, that's right. Because when they feel people are sympathetic or empathetic or, giving them gift or, treating them in a better way, softer, so they feel very good about it. So they don't want to heal. So they become like orphans who are adopted by the whole society.
Mm.
So this is orphan mentality. I'm sick, I had trauma 7 years. And I'm in so much pain. And, I feel so anxious. I'm feeling so depressed. Oh my goodness. And you ask them, okay, get out of it. That is how you can do it. They won't take that advice. Because they now are in orphan mode.
Right.
Their voice changes when they talk, for the last 5 days.
Yeah.
This orphan sitting.
Mhm.
And some of them are so educated, you can't believe.
Right.
Because I have 2, 3 friends like that.
Yeah, I think of some people that it makes me think of some people.
Yeah.
Um, with something like that, because they're getting an emotional response. It just makes me think of this. It's because they're getting this emotional response, so the brain can release chemicals. Is the heart playing a role with that? Like the neurons, like does the heart? It makes me think of the heart because there's neurons in the heart. Is that correct?
Correct.
In the stomach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do they play a role in receiving or releasing
Yes.
feelings in the
Yes.
body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we have gut brain, we have heart brain, and then we have skull brain. And they work in harmony.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just the pharmacy isn't just from the brain.
No.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no. Actually, each cell of the body is like a mini pharmacy.
Oh. Okay.
Because only now it is revealed. So, like benzos or cannabis
Mhm.
is a part of nearly all cells of the body, particularly in immune system.
Okay.
So, immune system is
No, I have one question. You said like when we're actually going through trauma and releasing trauma, we should tap into this energy that you didn't have before, right?
Right.
But why does it just feel so horrible when you're releasing that energy?
yeah, because releasing means releasing trauma also.
Okay,
Yeah, it is all something rotten which was accumulated
okay.
because that is
It
going
just
to be.
feels like if you have energy, so now you should feel, but
No.
always just this accessing this energy finally and healing feels horrible.
No, before the fresh energy, the very
Okay.
vital energy, is
That little
all this muck, all
muck
this,
stuff.
yeah, has to be because just like a stagnant water, you
Oh,
can
yeah,
see the
like
muck.
dirt, yeah.
Yeah, so in the beginning, dam is removed, now it's flowing, and then fresh water
Fresh
will
water,
start coming.
Yeah, because it's horrible, like.
Yeah, you're just getting rid of that.
Yes.
What is it?
Yeah.
Detoxing it.
Detoxing.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yes.
detoxification of this. Just like in our tap, sometimes they block it because they are repairing, and then you open it, and then come.
Yeah.
Same phenomena because
Makes sense now, because I got confused, it's like, okay, now I have so much energy, why was I always feeling horrible, like you go into deep, like despair
Right.
for days, and then all of a sudden you feel great, but then those days you have to go through it,
yeah, that is why somatic crises. That is what happens.
yeah.
Is you are feel so horrible, and sometimes for months, because that process you are cleaning every single thing. You are detoxifying your system forever.
Mhm.
After that, also will come, but
Little bits.
little bit here and
It's true.
you will be disturbed for half an hour, 1 hour. Why it happened, but it still keep on coming. But it can never.
Be the same, no, I know,
Mm.
I know.
You talked about something like that in the Kundalini podcast, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
because
because
for
Kundalini
the
was
Six chakra,
talking-
yeah,
sixth chakra.
yeah.
But we will
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah, because I thought that was really interesting. I feel like I was like experiencing some of that.
You have access to those trauma ones I posted, you saw them too?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And even later on, sometimes horrible stuff comes up. But by then, it doesn't make any difference on you. It's just like, oh yeah,
Right.
in the dream or if some image comes, and you feel that you will react to it. It's so horrible,
Right.
but it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, I remember like before getting into yoga, like where something like that would happen, and I would cling on to those emotions to feel it. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'd put music on to really bring on the emotion. And then I notice now if those thoughts or something come up, it is just this kind of like, oh, and then it goes.
It goes
And
away.
there isn't no effect.
No.
Yeah.
And because those kind of things never disappear 100%. But it's just like you are not giving any attention. Even to the, once you reach at the very top, still they will keep on rising. But yeah, they are just rising, disappearing, and
Right.
It's almost like your hose has been enlarged to this big and the muck comes now.
Yeah.
It's not mudding it, like,
Right, yeah,
making
yeah,
the
yeah.
water dirty. It's there, but
Yeah.
when it's so narrow, you're shrunk, as you said, in trauma you're shrinking, so it's so tight.
Yeah.
And so all the muck stuck in, nothing is growing.
It's all sludge.
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
So the last time we explored, from pratyahara to dharana. And dharana is contemplation. So I think at this juncture I would like to discuss the nature of thoughts, so we become clear, because thinking,
And
thoughts.
contemplation too, because yesterday I was so confused.
Yeah, it's a dharana.
Yeah, because I was like,
Yeah, I think the thing is that unless you experience so directly,
I know.
very difficult, because a lot of theoretical knowledge,
yeah.
although you try to get the intellectual
Oh,
insight,
okay.
yeah, but very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
But I'm just saying even that is confusing for the students.
Mhm.
Like to them, contemplation, cognitive, it's almost the same, right?
Yeah, that's right. And because it is still within the sphere of thoughts.
Exactly.
That is the problem. So cognition is all about thinking.
Yeah.
So they are right in a way, but not right in a way, because it's the most advanced form of cognition or recognition. It is not really cognition, it is recognition. So first of all, thoughts. So how many types of thoughts we have? Let me recapitulate. Associative thought, concentrative thought, contemplative thoughts. Yeah. So there are 3 types of thoughts. The first type of thought are associative thoughts. So I'm meeting someone, some friend told me, okay, you must meet this guy. And this guy, is a very good guy and may help you. So I meet him. It's a very big guy. As soon as I see him, it reminds me of a bully, which was, in adulthood or childhood. And then I go to, immediately my thoughts are focused on schools, that how bad it was. It was about the poor children, and those poor children didn't have much clothes, and their hairs were full of lice. And one of the child's father was a toilet cleaner, and he was like a slave. So the station master at that station was so angry, he beat him up. He became unconscious. Then his son came and he said, I will take a revenge. And that revenge is happening in many villages of India, and so on. This is called associative thoughts. Or you see someone, a man or a woman who was a great friend, you were in love, and you saw similar kind of face, and instantly you are transported, and then you go to that person and then you say, yeah, it could be so great if I could be with this person. I wonder how that person is doing, but I knew there was a family problem. Nowadays there are so many family problems with so many families. This is called stream of consciousness. One thought to another thought, and this is mind wandering. It is the quality of DMN, or default mode network, means,
Okay.
yeah, we talked about that,
Yeah.
identity. So if you really read about DMN, they said mind wandering. Your just mind is wandered. Sometimes it can become creative also, because wandering mind can help you, but most of the time it is such a wastage. It's like inner movie is playing again and again, and basically wastage of tremendous energy. That is first type of thinking. So what people do in order to counteract this associative thinking, they concentrate on some task. I don't want to go there, so I want to do something useful, productive. So they will start cooking, they will using computer, they will start writing, or something focused on outside, right? And that is called concentrative thought. So mind wandering, associative thought in association, and now I'm coming to concentrative thoughts. The quality of concentrative thought is I focus on something, tremendous concentration, and I'm excluding all other thoughts. I don't want any distractions. So a lot of work which we do in office and others, we try to attain that. Concentrative thought. I have to solve some problem. I have to get my account fixed. I have to analyze a research. I have to write a paper. Anything like that. Concentrative. I think I'm clear because we do all the time.
Yeah.
Third type of thought is contemplative thought. Still it is a thinking. Dharana is still a thinking. Still it is connected to thought. But what we do in this, we are able to focus without eliminating anything by force. Because in concentration, that is why we feel so tired after half an hour computer work, 1 hour computer work, or any task which we take and say, listen, I want to relax, I want a cup of coffee, I want to have a walk. Because it's a very stressful state. There is a tension in it. But here, in this contemplative thought, we prepare ourselves. How? Dharana. So from before dharana comes pratyahar. So there is a less distraction from our senses. Before pratyahar comes the pranayam that relaxed me. I have more energy. Before that comes the asana. My energy is more stable. Before that comes Niyama, we already released our energy because we aligned with our personality. So dharana, that is why Patanjali put later, because we already prepared, so our mind is calm, our parasympathetic nervous system is more active, and those distractions are minimal. Still may be there, but they are minimal in comparison of concentrative thought. Do we understand this? Yeah. Because for concentrative thought, there is no preparation. We just go and start. Here, we already prepared. So a lot of our practices are to reach dharana, still within thinking. So now what happens? I'm having this class as in dharana, contemplative thought, and I'm focusing on it. But it is not concentration. I'm just contemplating from where this class came, what is its significance. And gradually, what I discover that this class doesn't exist in isolation. This class is the part of the whole nature, whole world, and whole universe. So basically, intuitively, in this thought, I discover all its connections. So I'm thinking about you, then I discover that you are not only just met, you are much bigger reality. All your connections with nature, with people, with the city, with Canada, and ultimately universe. So you become much larger reality, just like in concentration, I isolate on you and just focusing on you. No. So it is a very loose focus, but nonetheless, it is within the realm of thinking because mind is still active. So, and the primary example is Einstein.
Mm-hmm.
He is a classical example of dharana. Dharana was very natural to him. He didn't practice any yoga or anything, but his brain was different. So he fell into dharana and he focused on, say, speed of light or nature of time, nature of space, because he was a mathematician as well as physicist. And what happens when he was focusing, the reality of space, time, light, speed of light, started connecting to everything. And his contemplation became so accurate that he came up with the idea of general theory of relativity and special theory of relativity, nature of the photon or the energy particles. And then he put them into mathematical formula, and that was finally proved. That's the beauty of contemplation. By contemplation, still we are thinking, but that thought is now connected with reality.
It's thinking without the thinking.
Yes, in a way.
In a way.
That's right. That is why a lot of religious thinking, theology, why science discarded it. Because it was concentrative thinking. It was not contemplative thinking. It was not intuitive thinking. It was cognitive thinking. That you sit here and you just write about the nature of the God intellectually. Just imagination by your imagination. Contemplation is not imagination. Actually, this is the intellectual insight or direct intuition, which takes the form of thoughts.
So what comes to my mind, because it's brought up in that book, and I've seen studies before, I guess, doing it. Is it telekinesis? Is that what it is?
No.
So what? So then when they send someone, they've done those studies where they send someone off, and then you would kind of tune into that person, and then you would just kind of write down whatever the first things, and then it would kind of give a description of where they are.
Yeah, but that is a very limited phenomenon.
Okay, so it doesn't have. You're not really tapping into this kind of contemplation.
No.
Okay.
That is again an act of concentration, because by concentration you can attain a telekinesis and various kinds of power.
Okay.
Contemplation is basically your thoughts are expanding. And
So-
it is connecting to everything to everything else.
Because everything already is there.
Essentially,
It's already there.
you are tapping into
And you just kind of opened up enough to just kind of, because like
Exactly.
the theory, the discovery of Einstein's relative theory,
they are already
it
there.
was already there.
We are not discovering anything at all new. Absolutely not. Even computers and artificial intelligence, they are already embedded, because that is why nature is called in Sanskrit Prakriti. Prakriti means first creativity. After that, every other creativity is secondary.
When you can have an idea and, I'm going to put this together, and then you find out someone else just did the exact same thing, we're all tapping into this.
Yeah, and even that person got it from the nature. It is
Right, yeah.
already there, and you become conscious of
You're
it.
just kind of, you're in that contemplation mode where this thing comes to you, and whether you choose to act on it or not is.
Yes. And that is why in medieval and ancient India, nobody took the authorship of anything. They said a lot of work was anonymous. Later on, people said that certain person discovered, because they said how you came up with the idea, and they said it was the blessing of Ganesha, it was the blessing of Rama, it was the blessing of Shiva. As latest is Ramanujam. Ramanujam was a mathematician from South India, and he went to England, and he started writing his mathematical equation. Everybody was shocked. There is a feature film made on his life. And he just gave it. And people asked, listen, it is okay, you gave those equations and we cannot solve it. And they are giant, it's a genius. But tell us the whole process. You have to describe the whole process, how you came and write it in mathematical form. He said, Goddess Lakshmi gave me. And those English mathematicians, good grief, what is talking about? Because it was contemplation. He didn't know. Later on, he put some work and he was able to resolve in some of those equations that dilemma. So he's a 20th century mathematician from India. Ramanujam, mathematician, and you can read all about it.
And that's why U.G. Krishnamurti also said, take everything I have, but write your own name on it.
Yeah. Because there is nothing original about it, what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Whether Einstein or in Newton and all those, they think, oh yeah, no, it was already there, but you had a particular biological constitution brain, so you are able to filter that information of Prakriti. Pra, the first, and Krati means creativity. That is the literal meaning of Prakriti.
Just out of curiosity, because it came up, is that like what's the? Is this like the Akash? Like, is that?
Akash is simply space. A space where all this can manifest.
Okay, so is that like the information's within the Akash?
Exactly.
And then, okay.
Yeah, because Akash is a space where everything manifests. So Prakriti manifests in Akash.
Oh, okay. So it's Prakriti comes out of the Akash.
No,
Oh,
Akash is
comes
the
out of-
result of the Prakriti.
Okay, right, okay.
Because Prakriti has 5 elements. So Akash and Vayu, Agni, Jal and Prithvi.
Okay.
Earth, water, fire, air and ether or space or Akash.
Okay, right.
So these are the 3 types of thinking. But contemplation gives you in an intuitive way, the reality, because you are contemplating on something. Its nature will be revealed, its reality will be revealed, its connections will be revealed. So now this glass becomes very different, because now you know the totality of this glass and the water, not just isolated object or some water in this glass. It is all the connections are made. Everything is connected with everything else.
So it's a lot bigger than a creative idea that's putting on.
They're just small.
Mm-hmm.
They're just small. And the beauty is you become the master of contemplation. In yoga, it is not only about contemplating, you are the master of the contemplation. So by desire, you take anything and you contemplate on it. So it is not that you are actually going into contemplation. You become the master of contemplation. You can do it by will. Because your brain is changed, your biology is changed. But still, it is between, here. So you are the contemplator and you are contemplating about it.
Right.
And then the whole thing perceived.
So this is something that isn't really experienced in a way without having this flow energy. Like it's a like someone generally wouldn't experience something like this.
Moments of it, because the flow is established suddenly because of some reason.
Okay.
And those are the aha moments.
Okay.
But here we want to really make it the part of our normal lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
So then, is it like having this creative intuition in a way, but that it involves a revelation of everything.
Yes. Exactly.
Interesting. This is very hard to like kind of conceptualize in a way.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess it's an experience more than anything.
Oh yeah, and a stage of contemplation comes when you can explain anything through anything. And as I mentioned to you, that we have these multiple nodes in our brain or in our mind. These are, you can call, windows. And you enter this window. So somebody asks you a question about the sex or politics. And once you enter the windows, this window is connected with all other windows, the universal connection. So through this, you can describe the whole universe. So you can connect this thing to economics and politics and daily life and the first cell and the origin of the universe, you name it. The whole thing is, so that is ultimate beauty of contemplation. You can explore anything of human life because it's all interconnected. In Buddhism, they call it Indra's net of jewels. It's a very famous term. And what that means, that whole universe is like a network of jewels. Jewels, you know. So here is one, here is one, here is one, here is one, here is one. So there are so many. And they reflect each other. Or you can give a metaphor of mirrors. And those mirrors are reflecting each other. So if you are able to see anything in one mirror, it will reflect all other mirrors. So this is whole network, whole universe, Indra's net of jewels. So somebody, you say, okay, here I'm posing a question which is connected with ruby. Now you focus on it, but this ruby is reflecting the diamond, the all other possible jewels. So you have access to all this knowledge.
That same as holographic,
Same thing.
that each piece has the information of the whole.
Yeah, universe is a hologram. Just like our body is a hologram, each cell contains the information about the whole body. So you can, this comparison with
Have
a,
you seen hologram? Like it,
Yeah.
you cut a piece, it has the same pictures. So
you can divide into a million pieces and each piece will reflect the whole picture. That's the quality of hologram, different from ordinary picture. So take holographic picture, divide, and if you see very carefully, the whole picture will be there.
It makes me think of like space and the planets and sun and all these things that are webbed out, but then they have all these jewels. But then when it comes down to it, it's just all like carbon and gases that are kind of within everywhere.
That's right. So they are basically, their form may be different, but they are reflecting each other and they are interconnected.
Yeah. I think I'm contemplating.
Yes. But now what today's topic is, that here is the contemplator who is contemplating and contemplating about this, right? And there is a connection and things are revealed. But today we are talking about Dhyan. Dhyan is beyond thoughts. Until now, we talk about three types of thought: associative thought, concentrative thought, contemplative thoughts.
Right.
But now Dhyan, the meditation, is taking totally a radical jump.
So contemplation is different from dhyan.
Oh yes.
Oh. Interesting.
Some people confuse it with Dhyan
Right.
because they don't understand that now something new is born. This is dhyana. Here is in contemplation, this is the contemplator. This is the object or idea about which they were contemplating. But now in dhyan, something entirely different happens.
So contemplation is like a seventh and a half limb in a way? Like, would it be?
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be experience in dharana then. It's
No.
more than.
Dharana, if you have dharana, you don't experience dhyan.
Okay.
But during dharana, you can jump into moments of dhyan. But what is dhyan? Dhyan is where there are no thoughts, except feeling of your existence. That feeling is still there, that you simply exist. But all your thought process comes to an end. Because we dealt with associative thought, we dealt with concentrative thought, we dealt with contemplative thought, that all comes to an end.
Okay.
Third entity is born of dhyan.
She has a question.
Yes, Crystal, any questions?
I did have a question.
Yeah.
So does that, would the plants and things like that be experiencing this? Because they don't have thoughts, but they're energy, and are they not aware of their existence?
That's right. They are in this state, but because they don't have any self-awareness, so they don't know. Even a baby is in the same state,
Okay.
but baby is not aware of it. So this is what is called ignorance. Their nature is very much there. In a stone, in a rock, in a butterfly, in a single cell, in a rose, in a baby, all these things are, the dhyan is there because they don't have thought process. But the only problem is that they are not conscious of it. So it is ignorance.
Because it's a part of the whole, it's kind of there, like it's part of this universe.
Exactly.
That's why it's there.
There. And there are no thoughts going on. They are functioning just with the energy.
With that energy.
Energy and a consciousness which is not self-aware. They are conscious,
Okay.
but not conscious about themselves. So, for example, my granddaughter, 6-8 months ago, she had no problem, whatever we put on her face, whatever way she was dressed, she was okay. Now, no, you can't do that. We put, on Deepavali, there was a red vermilion. Don't want it. Because she looked in the face, no, what are you doing? Self-awareness. So this is a huge jump. So far, up to dharana, it was a world of thoughts. Beautiful thoughts, lovely thoughts, contemplative thought, but nonetheless prison of thought. First time we are out of that prison. Because if there are no thoughts, what will happen?
So no death, no love.
All is gone. Why we suffer? We have thoughts of the past. Why we are frightened? Because of thought. Why we feel trapped in prison? Because of space and time, because of our memories. They are all thoughts. All possible misery is because of our thinking process. This time we are out. And there is no limit of time and space. Because primary condition of thought is that it is connected to some time or space. We are released from that psychological time and space. We experience infinite and eternal.
So are we going in and out, or it stays there all the time, even when you have contemplative meditation?
You cannot stay in this state all the time. It is an impossibility.
Okay.
What happens? You stay there and then come here, body, and then you go back. You, depending what is needed, you go. You go very naturally in and out.
Is that right naturally? Like you just.
Yeah, it is a very biological process. So somebody asks the question, immediately you are out of it. Question is gone, you are sitting alone, and then, oh, that's right. It used to happen, this is a 20th century story about U.G. Krishnamurti and Raman Maharshi both. Raman Maharshi is just lying on his couch in a big hall, and he's totally gone. And then somebody asks questions, and then he slowly stirred and come and answer the question, and then again. So you go in and out, in and out, in and out.
So I'm assuming your breath has to change a lot, right?
It will change.
Because if you are in a sympathy or any kind of form of thinking, your breath is going to be faster, right?
You are absolutely right. Sometimes you feel in this state as if somebody is dead.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's
Right,
like,
because I think of Yogananda, where he stops his heart, would he be into that state?
No, that is the siddhi.
Okay.
Stopping the heart is a siddhi.
Oh, okay.
Here, the natural connection with the breath.
Okay.
For heart to stop, you have to have siddhi. You have to really try control over your autonomic nervous system.
Okay.
So this is a very big leap.
it happens naturally, right?
Yes.
You can.
You cannot will it. You cannot control infinite or eternal from your thought. It's just like clouds, and clouds open and you can see the sun directly, and then clouds come again. And now you see the whole world and yourself in context of intangible, which is beyond thoughts, beyond senses, beyond contemplation, beyond knowledge, beyond scripture, beyond anything. This is the real stuff now.
So this things happen with the brain at this state, or this at this
Oh,
point
yeah.
it's just
No, brain will change because brain will respond to anything which is happening.
so it's more brain usage in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Because what happens in this state, your brain is all completely interconnected. And most likely high frequency gamma waves are going through it.
Okay.
Yeah, because they study these very deep meditators, the best meditators in Buddhism, with the help of Dalai Lama. And they found high frequency gamma wave, and the same waves, they come when we are dying. So basically, the brain waves, high frequency gamma waves, are equivalent to death, because it is basically the death of the ego. Ego is dissolved in those moments. There is a complete emptiness. No thought is rising, except there is a feeling that you exist. That's it. But you don't remember your name, who you are. All that information comes to end because that information is connected with your thoughts. So you don't have any relation, personal relation with anyone. Everything. So this is the state of complete non-attachment. This is a state of unconditionality, what we call unconditioned state. So that is a glimpse of here.
Comparing that, because that is going beyond, that's going into consciousness.
Pure consciousness.
Pure consciousness.
Here, Their consciousness was there, but consciousness filled with thoughts.
Mhm.
So it got limited.
Mhm.
That is emptied out here. So once it's emptied out, there is no boundary.
Within Soma, then, because you're going the path of energy,
Mhm.
is that is this something, will be achieved something different then?
No, it will ultimately come to the same.
It'll ultimately, you're just using the path of energy to
Exactly.
come to that.
Because ultimately, this will happen. No matter which path you take, if you really push it to the hilt, here it becomes the same. It doesn't matter which tradition. Up to this point, it may be different.
Okay.
But here, no.
So I'm just trying to visualize it from when you were showing us the image. So consciousness and energy are kind of the same level. But pure consciousness is more?
Yeah. Because what happens in pure consciousness here, you left the energy already at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because pure consciousness means is beyond everything you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
You left even the energy. And that will become very clear next week when we discuss various samadhis.
Okay.
What a creative force.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Who sat and contemplated this existence? I'd just like to know.
Yes.
It's like layer after layer after layer after layers.
This one is the most difficult to understand. Up to this, there are so many examples, but here, unless you experience it, it will be very difficult. And everybody experiences this state, but they miss it. Everybody experiences. If they will experience for hours, then it will become very clear. But usually it stays for a few seconds, a minute.
Stay.
Oh yeah. There is
Because
no,
it's there.
huh?
It's there.
It's already there.
It's just clouded.
It's clouded. And even when the clouds are removed, they are for such a short time that clouds come again and everything is lost in the hustle bustle of our normal life.
Right.
We miss it.
Right.
But and when it is sufficiently profound, it is called satori or tensho in Zen.
Mm.
And satori and kensho is such a deep one that usually people don't forget.
So, but it's still in this area?
No,
Oh,
satoru kenshi is
It's
this.
there. Okay.
It just everything is clear and sun is so bright, so shiny, so empty, and it leaves such a huge impact on your brain and body that you cannot forget. So it's sufficiently powerful, this state. But mostly what we experience is just for a few moments and it is not so powerful. Because our lives are so entangled.
Dhyan is the same thing as Zen, right?
Oh yeah, because Dhyan became Qian or Chen and Chen Zen. So India, China and Japan. So and Dhyan means attention. Now there is a total attention because there is nothing to distract. All thought disappear. So Dhyan means literally attention. But it's a spontaneous attention. It has nothing to do, I'm attending to you. No.
Near-death experiences would fall into
That
this.
brings this.
Mhm. And then experiencing this opens up the floodgates for all that.
Yeah, and that is what you already paved the path to next session. You understood right away that once the sun is shining, what will happen? it will transform everything lower down.
Right. That's why people who have near-death experiences, their whole lives change.
Change. And that is what first 6, 7 samadhi are all about. They are the changes in our body, changes in our emotion, changes in our thought, changes in our bliss, happiness. Because it opens up and it just bringing everything to its peak, cleaning everything. So samadhi, when we will describe, you will see we came back again, lower down, yes. Because all the lower is now getting connected to the higher. And in that process, get enlightened. Enlightenment of the body, enlightenment of the emotion, enlightenment of the thoughts, and so on and so forth. But we will.
Is that the involution?
Pardon? Involution. Because that light is now saying, I'm going to lift you up. You are at the lower level, but I'm going to take you higher.
Interesting. There's this guy that's coming to yoga classes, and he's a paramedic, and I guess at work he had one of the some door or something come down on his head, and he's like, I lost all my memory. And when I came to, I started watching the news and TV and trying to regain knowledge back. People were trying to reteach me stuff, and he goes, that doesn't make sense, that's not real. That doesn't make sense, that's not real. And then all of a sudden he got into yoga. And he's like, this is making way more sense than all this garbage that I kept coming to. And so that's how he got into, I was like, that's a very fascinating story.
That's right.
Just naturally, the stuff that he's like, I had to relearn stuff. And he's like, it just didn't make sense anymore. And he's like, it just wasn't telling me the truth or something. I'm like, very interesting.
So we came yama, niyama, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, and dhyana. So this part is important to pay attention to now. Because that is the whole idea of practice or gaining knowledge. The next time when it happens, I won't miss it. So far I was not aware, I missed it. But now I am aware. So that is the lessening of the ignorance and beginning of the wisdom. So beginning of the wisdom doesn't mean I'm gaining anything new. It is already there. It was coming in moments, but because I was not aware, so it disappeared. The beginning of wisdom is to recognize it, remember it. Like in Sufism, they say zikr or remembrance, basically. In Zen, they say remembering your original face before you were born.
Yeah, like the word, even mindfulness, it's the right remembering. I can't remember, sama sati.
Yes.
The right remembering.
Yes, right remembering. It's already there in the background. It's humming. But because there's so much noise, that hum is so weak, it can't reach me. Now I'm quietening down that noise in yoga so I can listen to this hum.
So it's interesting how they call it mindfulness. When it came from there, and they had to add the word mind into it. But it's actually beyond mind.
Yeah, that's right. Can you repeat it again? Because you describe mindfulness very beautifully. So can you describe mindfulness from what you were saying just now?
Right now? Oh, like basically sama sati. It's the word is the right remembering.
The right remembering.
Right remembering. It's not like mindfulness is just when it came to the east, to the west. I guess because everyone has to, it's confused with that contemplative technique. Because you come, it's hypofrontality, whatever happens, and your thoughts are reduced or whatever. to that one thing, but it's actually not that. It's just remembering your original self.
Yeah.
Your essence.
Your essence, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what's being missed in the West. They're all about
The mind.
it's more about concentration. Like when it comes to that word attention, everyone confuses now just pay attention to this, pay attention to
Right.
that. And it's still a deliberate kind of effort. And what meditation is the effortless.
Yeah, because this you cannot bring by effort, meditation.
It's like sleep, like death, sleep, and meditation, they all follow the same path.
Right.
You can will it, like you fall asleep. You can provide an environment, you do everything right, but you can't just say, oh, go to sleep.
Yeah.
You
right.
wait,
It just
and then you fall into it. Similar to meditation,
Yes,
it's
right.
just you prepare, you do all these, whatever you do to calm the nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
but whether you fall into it or not,
not. Yeah.
it's not something you can will it. Because when the open, basically you can't, I guess you have to be completely there in order for you to
It's in
not miss it.
Yeah, because it's experience.
Mhm,
And so it's like attention, it's at tension,
mhm.
right? So you're tense, you're at tension, right? You're trying to concentrate.
Mm.
There's so like when I go into this meditate, I don't know what I don't even know what to call it now, but meditation. Like there's these drops that I have in it. That's the only way I can kind of explain it, where it just feels like something just drops in me,
Mhm.
and then I feel something different in a way.
Mm.
I experience something different. But yeah, it's very quick. It doesn't last too long. It's hard for me to kind of stay in there. It drops. I notice the drop, and then it's like I experience something, and then it's just like, and then it's like, oh, I lost it again. You know, what is happening there is it just a different form of kind of concentration in a way? I'm experiencing something more in the body than in the mind.
That's right. Because that is usually connected to your alpha and theta waves, means you are relaxing, your mind is relaxed, is expanding, parasympathetic nervous system is more active. So you are developing a sense of peace, quietness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because it almost seems like an in-between sleep
Exactly.
state in a way.
Exactly.
So when you sleep and you wake up, how do you know you had a very good sleep?
I don't think I've had one in a long time.
Oh, I know, but what I'm saying is you don't remember your sleep.
No, that's right. Yeah.
No thoughts, but it's almost like it's lingering, right? You kind of know
Yeah.
you had a good, so similar to this state, because you fall into it, you will know, when you come out of it, you will know you experienced it. That's basically it. It's just almost the fragrance of it is like lingering, and you can tell
Yeah.
this happened to you, rather than just wondering, oh, this was it's just that sense of knowing happens compared to concentration or thinking, it's just because the taste of it is there, you're still kind of lingering, just like a boat passing by in the water. You don't see the boat anymore, but you know there was a boat because the water was
Right.
you could feel the trace of it, or those
So can you then entrain the brain to do that, like using
no, it's just
binaural beats? Can you put the brain into a state to kind of experience that?
not this.
Not that.
But you can put all other stages, yes, that is
Right.
possible to master. This one, you cannot control anything.
Yeah, because I'd imagine trying to put the brain into a because then isn't it like when they meditate, isn't it like a mix between like really high and really low frequencies?
All kinds of things.
Right.
But that will put you in a trance-like, relaxed state, more peaceful state. And your parasympathetic nervous system is more active, your sympathetic nervous system is less active. So all those changes can
Right.
happen, but this is no.
It's not the same.
No. It is utterly beyond all technologies and things like that.
Mm-hmm. You think one day we could eventually, using technology, put the body into that state to experience that?
no, because it's a feeling.
Thing
Right.
is that because
Because the consciousness part.
because thing is that anything which is within the realm of thought, limited, science can access.
Yeah, okay.
Anything beyond time and space, because all science is about within the limitation of time and space.
Mhm.
Any theory of science only valid to the limitation of time and space. All mathematics. Nothing can touch this one, ever.
Okay.
And that is a unique quality of human beings.
Right.
Unique
Right.
quality of life is feeling,
Yeah, that's right.
and
Yeah,
feeling
right.
is beyond thoughts.
Right.
And feeling beyond thought. This is what it is. Rest, oh yeah, they can do a lot of things here.
Mhm.
They will discover God.
Hmm.
So, because what we call God, normally the Christian God or a Muslim God, and they will be able to comprehend that God.
Right.
And Jivasu explained when psychedelics is it's still a realm of mind.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because it's a content, it's still content based, you still have a lot of
It is an
thoughts.
experience,
Yeah, but
but
it's an
magnified experience,
Mhm.
Yeah,
but limited.
Right. Right. Because you're still in the thought, you're still in the brain. It's
Yeah.
still, there's still that physical, electrical kind of component kind of to it,
That's right.
energy component to it.
That's right.
but it still helps because you expand it to your thoughts, but
Right.
it's not that transformation or evolution, it's just
Mhm.
expansion of thoughts.
Because a lot of psychedelic users, they were
Yeah,
inspired that they will touch this state.
yeah,
Oh, right.
They used it, their brain
Yeah.
deteriorated.
Hmm.
What is the time here?
it's 10 to 6.
Yeah, this is a very interesting one. I feel like I really need to sit with it
Yeah.
and go over the video and stuff again.
But
I guess it's, because it's experience, right? So it's very hard to kind of,
But that's how the beauty was, like as you also described. It's almost like when you get to a certain level, the rest of it is spontaneously, it's gonna
Right.
happen. It's not like, so the best is to focus on the first 4, as you know.
That's right.
If you get that
right.
in your control and your energy is not dissipated and wasted everywhere, then chances are you will fall into that.
That's
space.
right. That is why first 4 are the 4 pillar foundation of everything.
Mhm.
Rest, it will start coming on its own.
Yeah, this is getting really interesting. It's nice putting it together, though. Mhm.
But I also think somewhere, somehow, this bioenergy in us attracts that kind of knowledge you're offering. Is that true?
It will.
Yeah, because I feel like, how is it that I randomly
Right.
Jivasu, you know what I'm saying? But I also feel like something in me driven, and that life, it's very conscious. It knows how to go and where to go and what to find. And depending on the level, this is what the dots come
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. I experienced that redoing the videos. I just feel this passion, when I'm going through the videos, I'm excited to sit down and go through the notes and going and putting this
Yeah, yeah.
together and just,
And
and I
it becomes
feel
an
it,
obsession,
physically, yeah.
Oh, you will. In
Yeah.
your biology.
Yeah, it is like,
Hmm.
I think this subconscious knows.
Right, yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks again, this is
that
great.
good.
Mhm.
Wow.
So I think we will start with samadhi. So approximately how many sessions we did? Any idea?
I'm pretty sure this is our 11th session.
11 session. Because then we will start. Samadhi I think may take us 2 more sessions. Because whatever number of session I don't care, but whole idea is to really be very clear.
Mhm.
And then we will start the chakras.
Okay, cool.
And you will able to connect both of them.
Right.
Chakras will be very clear by exploring it. So you will see there is no, there's a different uh, approach, but nonetheless coming to the same point.
Mm-hmm.
So Soma and Kundalini are not really different.
No, because nothing is different, not even this, but our approach is very contemporary because what we are taking is a biological route
Yeah,
and a
exactly.
very practical route.
Yeah,
Otherwise, there is nothing radically new, really.
yeah. I'm just thinking like how when you align yourself with your Kundalini or that energy, it's the same thing.
It's the
as,
same thing.
Niyama. It's like, you follow that kind of force. It just tells you, don't eat this, move this sleep here, don't do this, avoid this. It's like, it's almost like talking to you. So that energy, that's what I'm saying, it's very conscious.
Yeah.
It's
And I don't
directing
listen
it.
sometimes.
Well, we don't because we're so distracted, that's what I'm saying.
It's like, Matt, you don't want to eat those cookies. You don't want to eat these cookies, Matt. And so
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you don't want to be so obsessed about not eating the cookies either because again, you get so stuck on, all these people like organic and non-organic
Yeah.
and this is, they get so caught up in that. That's a lot of distraction by itself and you think you're doing like some spiritual work, but in reality, you're caught up in that.
Yeah.
It is I call it
Trust.
substitute satisfaction.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I cannot live an organic life, so I'll replace it with eating organic food. Organic life means in accordance with your biology. So we are not living that, so I'll pile up all the best which is advised by others, not knowing if I'm not living organically, all that organic food I cannot even digest
Yeah.
because there are changes in my intestine because of the chronic stress. So all those wonderful nutrients I'm not even absorbing. So whatever eating organic, it doesn't make any difference. But this is called substitute satisfaction.
Right.
So we substitute the experience of higher with the substitute of the lower.
Yeah.
See, I would say like I do feel different about when, like, say, like the idea of the cookie thing. Like I can actually feel like my body doesn't want to do that,
Yes.
and I notice my mind is, you know what, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
But I can, because it does feel like it comes from the body more of like trying to just control my action. Yeah, it's like, it's really different. It does, even like at night, like, yeah, like where I get the feeling like I don't want to watch TV anymore, but I'll still put the TV on or something like that, right? But I get this, almost the sensation of not wanting to do that. Doing something more creative or something, or just relaxing and reading a book or something like that.
That's because you are aware.
Right.
Those people who follow the substitute satisfaction, they are not even aware. You are aware. That is why you feel it.
And the reason why I brought the cookie thing up, because it was yesterday, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have tea, and I usually go for my cookies, and I'm like, I feel like I don't want a cookie, but I'm gonna have a cookie. And then I was eating the cookie, and I only ate one, and I'll usually have a couple. But I noticed my stomach was like, no, you didn't want that. And then I didn't have another one after. And it was almost like this spontaneous of not going for one.
That's right. Because your biology will be tuning into it.
Yeah. It's very loud.
Your body will tell you exactly. And in the beginning, you will able to ignore its messages, but it is going to become more and more powerful.
Yeah, and that's what it's feeling now.
And that is what is called pratyahar.
And I would have to put it on, to me, I seem like it's changed since doing just the feeling meditation thing of just feeling my face, feeling my heart, feeling my stomach, and like I won't do that throughout the day. I'll just kind of do it in the evening or something like that, or even sometimes because I teach it in yoga now, that I'll lay down and as I'm saying it to people, like I'm doing it along with it, right? And so I feel like that has really brought a lot of awareness to that.
Exactly. And it will become spontaneous after a while. You will see, even without scanning your body for those feelings, you will know about it.
Right.
Very precisely. It will be such an excellent feedback. You will know exactly.
Yeah, it's been very interesting.